Maties! Welcome to Sea of Thieves. This is Damron, and this is part 2 of a 5-part series that I'm putting together to show you guys some tutorials in Sea of Thieves. And the first part really covered the boat. The second part, we're going to talk about outposts, equipment, and those things. And then the next few parts are going to be beginner's tips, intermediate tips, and then finally we're going to finish with some advanced tips for more of the more experienced sailors. So if you are pretty experienced in Sea of Thieves, this particular video may not be for me, right? The first and second part are basic information for new players, players coming back that are just getting into the game, get you oriented how to sail. So again, in part 1, we covered the boat and just everything on the boat and how to sail. So let's go ahead and dive right into part 2, and we're going to talk about the outpost. Every time you spawn into the game, you will spawn at a main outpost. And on the dock is the shipwright. The shipwright is the person that's going to sell you ship cosmetics. And next to the shipwright is the ship customization chest, where you can actually apply those customizations to your ship. Keep in mind, your ship needs to be close to the dock to be able to use that ship customization chest. Also on the dock will be the Merchant Alliance vendor, and this is where you're going to pick up your Merchant Alliance voyages as well as upgrading your Merchant Alliance once you have the reputation necessary to upgrade that alliance. And keep in mind that I'm showing you one outpost here. The location of each of the things I'm showing you can be different on an outpost, but everything I'm showing you exists on every outpost. So this is the equipment shop, and luckily they've changed it. It used to be each outpost had different equipment, different clothing, and different weapon customizations, but now you can get all the customizations at any of these shops on any outpost. So you're also going to have a weaponsmith shop, and this is where you're going to find customization to your weapon items. And then finally, the other type of customization shop is the clothing shop. And one thing I want to point out about all these shops is when you purchase these, it does not automatically put what you purchased on. You will actually then need to either equip that customization from the chest that I showed you in the boat in the first part, or each of these shops do have boxes on the outside of them so you can equip the customizations that you just purchased. The other thing that you're going to see on the main outpost is the Gold Hoarders Alliance. And the Gold Hoarders Alliance is always going to be in these green tents. And this is where you're going to purchase Gold Hoarder Voyages, which will task you with digging up treasure chests or solving riddles, ultimately finding treasure chests. You're also going to turn in all your treasure chests to the Gold Hoarder as well as the trinkets that you'll find throughout the game. In this tent here, you're going to find the Order of Souls Alliance. The Order of Souls Alliance will offer you voyages that take you to kill multiple waves of skeleton enemies that ultimately culminate in killing a skeleton captain. And this is also the place you're going to sell the things that you get from those quests, all of your skulls. You're going to have a slew of different types of skulls that you're going to encounter from playing this game, and that is where you will sell them in order to get that reputation. So the other alliance is the Hunter's Call Alliance, and this is not on the main outpost. These are found on Sea Post, and you can see here this is the Hunter's Call, and these sea posts are several throughout the game, like Steven Spoils here. You can see where I'm at. Several of them actually say Sea Post, like right here, 3 paces east Sea Post, and they all kind of look the same. It's a small dock with a flame on it, as well as a little shop in the back, and the shop in the back is a merchant that will sell a variety of items that actually will rotate. So every time you go to them, they may have different things for sale. And then on the edge of the dock, the guy holding the fishing pole will be Merrick, Eric, Derek, or his brothers throughout all the seaposts. And the thing that's different about this alliance is they don't offer voyages. The only way to gain reputation here is to actually turn in fish that you have caught or mermaid gems that you have found throughout the world. And that one's a pretty slow one to rank up. It definitely takes a lot of time, but the fishing is pretty fun. And then the other alliance is the Sea Dogs. The Sea Dogs is in the arena. You're simply going to gain reputation in this by completing matches in the arena. You will automatically gain reputation in this. Now, to get to the final alliance, which is in the Athena, you have to become Pirate Legend. And in order to do that, you need to get to level 50 in 3 of the previous 5 alliances that I told you. And then once you do that, again, this is going to be far later into the game if you are just beginning, but once you become Pirate Legend, you can go to the Secret Pirate Hideout, and now you'll have access to the Athena's Alliance and the Athena Voyages that offer pretty nice sums of money in the game, as well as some pretty fun voyages to do. So now we're going to go ahead and talk about the consumables in the game, right? We've got food, cannonballs, wooden planks, and bait. So let's go ahead and start with the wooden planks first. If you go to your radial menu and equip your wooden plank and you go to a hull that has a hole in it, you will now be able to repair that by pressing right trigger or whatever that is corresponding to on the PC. And once you've repaired it, the hole will be fixed and you will no longer be taking on water. Go ahead and show you how to use the bucket here as well. By equipping your bucket and just scooping with the right trigger, you will get water that is in your deck, and you need to take that to the top of your boat and throw it off of your boat, and that's how you will remove water from your boat to prevent yourself from actually sinking. Next consumable is the fruit and or the meat. You can see the bottom left hand side of my screen is my health bar, which I'm pretty much almost dead, and there's several types of fruit that you can eat: bananas, coconuts, pomegranate, mango, and pineapple, and they all give you a different percentage of health return, with bananas and coconuts being the worst. Pomegranates about 30%, mangoes 50%, and a pineapple will actually restore 100% of your health, and you can eat the pineapple twice. So when you take your first bite, you'll have half of the pineapple left, which essentially gives you, theoretically, the ability to hold 10 pieces of fruit if indeed you had 5 pineapples. So the next item we're going to talk about is the cannonballs. And the cannonballs, oh, and just to mention, we'll talk about the meat in the beginner's tips because I'm going to talk about cooking and health regeneration. So we'll talk about the meat later, but that is also a consumable that restores health and will give you health regeneration. So moving on to the cannonballs, you have specialty balls and regular cannonballs. And the good thing, this change happened a long time ago, but now when you are on the cannon, you can simply load a cannonball by holding Y, and you can even unload it. And without leaving the cannon, if you enter your radial wheel with left bumper, you can select the specialty balls that you have in your inventory and load and unload them just the same as you are doing with the regular cannonballs. Quick tip, I would recommend having all your cannons preloaded with cannonballs just in case a fight comes kind of out of nowhere. You want to be able to get on your cannons and take shots immediately. And the way you know it's loaded is, one, if you walk up to it, and the option is to unload it, but also a quick glance and you'll see that wick sticking up. That also lets you know that the cannon is loaded. Another thing you can do with the cannons is actually load yourself into the cannon and fire yourself out of it. This allows you to reach islands faster, shoot long distances. You can even shoot yourself to unreachable places on islands, which you'll do if you're trying to get the skeleton chairs accommodation. You can also shoot yourself onto enemy ships. So there's a lot of utility in being able to load yourself into a cannon that you guys are going to have fun with as you're kind of sailing the seas. The last consumable item we're going to discuss briefly is bait. And in order to see the bait, you have to have your fishing rod equipped, and then when you bring out your equipment menu, now you can press Y to go to your bait. And your bait are earthworms, grubs, and leeches, and basically those are different types of bait for different types of fish that you can find in different areas of the seas. So let's move on to the equipment. So now we're going to talk about the other non-consumable equipment. Obviously you have your compass. That's a pirate's right-hand thing other than a parrot, which we need, by the way, rare. The compass is self-explanatory, right? You got your cardinal directions. It's going to point in the direction you're facing. We briefly discussed the bucket earlier. Not only can you get water off your boat, but you could technically throw water on people's boat. You can also throw up into your bucket if you're drunk and use that throw up to blind an enemy, which is pretty funny. Your lantern is very useful. Your lantern is going to help you at night, especially in dark places. The shovel is obviously for digging, as you would expect. You're going to use that a lot to dig up chests and other trinkets throughout the game. The spyglass, or our telescope, is going to allow us to view things in the distance. Pretty obvious. If you know anything about pirating, you definitely got a spyglass. Now, a tidbit here about the megaphone. When you press and hold right trigger, now when you speak in game chat, your voice will travel further, so people further away can hear you. But that also applies to text chat, and some people don't know that. You see, I just texted ahoy there, and it's in lower letters. But if I equip the megaphone and then select ahoy, now it's in capital letters. That text will actually traverse a further portion of the game, so players outside of my crew could see my text from further away. The fishing rod we already discussed, right? That's going to be how you're going to be fishing for bait for the Hunter's Call Alliance. And then, of course, our tankard. Our tankard has to be for the grog. And the pirate code, if you cheers another pirate on the seas, you must drink the entire tankard of grog. That's the rules. If you cheers, down the grog. Don't ever cheer someone and then not drink. That is against the pirate code. So also that's pretty fun. And what's better to do than show you the other types of items or equipment we have than when you're drunk, and that's our musical instruments. You've got a drum, and beating a drum off beat while drunk, as fun as that is, you can do this non-drunk and make it sound better. You also have an accordion and a hurdy-gurdy, and I'll let you hear some of the drunk music. So the last item that you have is a pocket watch, and the pocket watch is going to tell you that not only the time, but also the date at the bottom. You see, oh no, it's the 12th, and that's very handy for time-sensitive quests. Some quests will tell you you have to do something by a time and by a date. And with items like this and maps, not only can you press right trigger to bring that item to your face, but also if you press left trigger, you can show your item to someone else, and that's pretty useful when you're trying to show people in an alliance an item that may not necessarily be in your crew. Now, we talked in the basics one about how to place a voyage, so let's briefly talk about the voyage quest wheel. Once you've placed a voyage, your quest wheel will populate with things that are associated with that voyage, and those are found by pressing and holding right bumper. And when you select anything in that quest wheel, now it'll bring up a map or something associated with that quest to help you in your next step. And if you see the red circles associated with that, that's the orders of souls. So I know I'm doing an order of souls. You can also pick up quests in a bottle, and that'll have a symbol with a little bottle in it. Now, if you're doing a Merchant Alliance voyage, that circle will be blue. If you're doing a Gold Hoarders, that circle will be gold. So you'll know which quests correspond to your voyage and which quests are just from bottles and such. So that's a way you can kind of keep yourself oriented into which quest corresponds to your voyage and which quests you may just have that doesn't. You know, hopefully they'll allow us to abandon bottle quests in the future, but as for now, those are going to occupy your inventory space. So I hope you guys found this helpful. That's going to end part 2 of this series, and we've really finished the basics. So we've covered really everything from the ship to the voyages to your equipment, all the alliances. So you really should be able to, be ready to hit the seas now. I hope you guys, if you're coming new to the game, I hope you found these guides a little bit helpful and helped you get orientated a little bit. I hope you enjoyed it. If you like my content, feel free to like and subscribe, and hopefully we'll see you out on the seas.